Hello everyone. Well, this is my first Facebook Live, so I just want to start this session really with just lighting a candle for all of life, to honour all of life. And so may all of life flourish. These are very intense times that we're living in, incredibly intense times, and so for me, the action of lighting a candle is just really honouring, really cherishing life. Now, the theme of this Facebook Live is practical spirituality. What is practical spirituality? Now, I can see a few of you are tuning in. It's absolutely gorgeous for you to join me. Thank you so much. I can't actually read who it is because you're upside down and inside out, but my phone's on its side, but I'll sort all that out in time. I just want to say thank you. Thank you for coming. Thank you so much for giving a little time this Sunday evening. And as I'm talking to you, I'm just looking up, and Bob, the robin that lives in my house, he's just up on the chair right there. He might give us a song, who knows. Hello, Bob. So, yeah, beautiful, beautiful souls. What is practical spirituality? Well, I think the first thing that is really key is to define what is meant by spirituality, because it can mean so many things, and spirituality is an incredibly personal thing. It's your own personal experience of what is sacred, what is divine, what is your own connection to something very treasured within and without. A friend of mine, William Bloom, he spent years and years and years looking for a phrase that was applicable no matter what your spiritual path, whether you're Buddhist, Hindu, Sikh, Christian, whether you're pagan, shamanic, whether you're atheist, agnostic. He really searched for a very, very long time, for a number of years, to find a phrase. And he came up with this phrase, which I think really nails it. It really nails and defines what spirituality is. And it's quite simply this. It's our ability to connect with the awe, wonder, and energy of life. Just tune into that for a moment. Our ability to connect with awe, wonder, and the energy of life. So regardless of what your spiritual path is, that phrase, that ability to connect, is something that we can all relate to, I think. And, you know, for someone who is Buddhist, then the connection is most definitely an inner, deep, meditative state, connecting with a field of awareness. For a Christian, it may well be deep prayer and a devotional connection with Lord. With a Hindu, it may be huge pujas and blessing on the third eye, and, you know, using lots of flower petals and using a lingam stone, and working with Sanskrit mantras. For someone who's atheist, it may be going for a run in the morning and feeling that sense of connection with awe and wonder. For some people, it's simply plugging in with nature, simply tuning in and feeling this awe and wonder at the beauty of creation, the beauty of life. So this is what I mean by spirituality. That's my definition. I certainly adopt William's definition of spirituality being our ability to connect with awe and wonder. Now, practical spirituality, what does that actually mean? What is practical spirituality? Now, to plug into awe and wonder is one thing. I mean, I'm sure every single one of you that are tuning in right now can recall moments when you've really felt a sense of awe. It might have been with an amazing sunset. In this moment, I'm feeling awe and wonder at Bob, who's just sat, my resident Robin, just sat listening away to me talking with you. He's snuzzled down on the top of the chair, and I'm just in awe that a wild bird has chosen to spend his evening with me by the fire. You might see him in the background flying around every so often. All of us have this ability to connect with awe and wonder. It may be when we play with our children or our grandchildren, or we hold a baby for the first time, and there's this feeling of awe, of wonder. It may be when you ran your first race, when you were 16 years old, and you were amazed at the power of your body. It may have been that you sat in sacred ceremony and had an incredible heart-opening experience. So there are many, 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 multiple ways that we can connect with awe and wonder. And in a world that is, you know, let's face it, there's a lot of dark stuff going on on our planet at this time. You know, there's absolutely shocking ecocide going on. There's horrendous power over games with huge corporate industries that are just spurging terrible toxicity into our environment. There's the raging fires that are happening all over the world, in Australia, recently in California, all over Africa. There are fires, wildfires raging everywhere. You know, there's never been more ice melting at the polar ice caps and more methane being released into our environment. And that, for me, is a surefire signal that as a collective, there is a deep, deep calling for us to develop our ability to love, our ability to act with kindness, to really bring in our awareness of how we're living. The actions that we all take have an impact. And so it's really about self-reflecting and just becoming aware of how are my actions impacting on all of life. And whilst that self-reflection is going on, also, how can I be more kind with the choices that I make for myself and the choices that I make for the earth, for the planet, for life, so that all of life can thrive. Practical spirituality is about developing your own practice. Your practice that helps you plug in with awe and wonder every single day. And it's also about how you can develop your ability to feel compassion. Compassion for yourself and compassion for others. Because without compassion, all sorts of judgment can come in, all sorts of holier than thou versions can come in, and that's not helpful for anyone. And so really being able to develop compassion, kindness in our hearts for ourselves and for each other. And this begins at home. It begins with our family. It begins with our immediate loved ones, right under our noses. It begins with our neighbours. It begins in our immediate sphere of influence within our communities. And it's also about how well we exercise our ability to connect. That's my cuckoo clock just going off. So I want to share with you, there's a really beautiful free program that's available that can really help you develop your spiritual health. The more you can embody the presence of love, the more loving you can become within your own skin for yourself, and the more loving you can become within your community, with your neighbours, the more caring that we can all become with all of life, then we start to raise the vibration, we start to bring down more light, we start to embody the warmth and the glow in our hearts. And when that starts to happen, then it creates a positive feedback loop, which is really, really important to cultivate especially now in our world. A couple of years ago, I had a really powerful feeling in my gut, and I couldn't move it, I couldn't shift it, and I couldn't access it. And it was really lingering for days. It was just kind of so uncomfortable. And in the end, I just gave myself some time. And I actually asked Tao, my husband, to help take me into this feeling, because I couldn't do it on my own. And as I dropped into this feeling in my body, I started to feel this terror. And this terror started to get a grip on me, and it was really terrifying to feel the terror. And I just kept diving into my body and feeling my body going into a very, very tight, contracted space. And as I dove right into the core of that feeling, I started to have an image of our beautiful earth with dark hands surrounding the earth and getting a grip on the preciousness of life. And that, for me, instigated this realization that it's almost like we don't have a choice now, that it's more important now than ever to become the embodiment of love, to really bring love into our every action, our every thought, our every word, and to really self-reflect. How am I doing? Okay, I didn't do so great there, and I wasn't being so loving there with that particular action. Okay, so I can repair. And that action of repairing and making amends and being loving and kind to ourselves and being loving and kind with each other and being forgiving with each other is really spiritual strength. And so developing our spiritual health, connecting with awe and wonder on a daily basis, becoming mindful of what it is that helps me connect. What ways do I connect? Is it through cooking? Is it through drawing? Is it through creating beautiful mandalas out of nature? That's something I love to do. Is it through music? Is it through singing? Is it through dancing? Is it through prayer? Is it through deep meditation? Is it through chanting sacred mantras? Is it through going for a walk and connecting with the trees? Is it simply watching birds flying, murmurations of sparrows, for example? There are all sorts of ways that we can plug in and connect with the awe and wonder of life. And the more that we do that, the more we start to take care of our earth. The more we start to take care of life, the more we start to love life. It's such a simple thing. And yet it's so vitally important, because the more that we connect with our love, our hearts, the more care starts to flourish in our communities. And it begins with myself. It begins right here in my own heart. Now, I want to share with you, so I'm a member of the Spiritual Companions Trust. It's a universal charity for people of all different faiths. There's no agenda, there's no sales pitch or anything like that. But the Spiritual Companions Trust has published this document, which is completely free. Your spiritual health. You can begin to study your own spiritual health, start to explore how you connect with the wonder and energy of life, how you can develop care and compassion in your heart, how you can start to plug in for your own health and well-being, how you can start to really nourish yourself on a day-to-day basis. And the beauty is, the more that you plug in, the more that you connect with awe and wonder, the more that you practice this and become mindful of this on a day-to-day basis, the more you're going to benefit. And the more you benefit, the more that ripples out into your community, into your families, into your work. And so, one by one, we can start to create these amazing ripples, just like ripples on a pond. And so, this spiritual health program is available for free download. It's completely free. It's a 40-page document. It's completely free. You can download it as an editable PDF from spiritualcompanions.org. It's all there. You can just download it and click it and it'll come straight into your computer. Or you can go to my personal website, hoppywimbush.com, And if you go to Working With Me and go right down to the bottom, your Spiritual Health downloadable program is there. So you can connect with that way. And download this and begin developing your spiritual health for you in your unique way. Because there's no one who has your heart. There's no one who loves like you. There's no one on the planet who loves in the way that you do. There's no one on this planet that shares kindness and compassion in the way that you do. You're completely unique. You're a unique spark of what I call the divine, what some people would call great mystery, what some people would refer to as God, as Brahman, as the all-seeing, all-knowing universe. It's all the same thing. It's all the same mountaintop. We've just all got different names for this magnificent mystery, this, I don't know what it is, that seems to operate in really mysterious ways in our world. So I really pray, I really hold an intention in my heart that as a first step to taking responsibility for your spiritual health, for developing your heart, your kindness, your love, your ability to connect, is just by taking that action. Download this free resource and begin today. It's as simple as a choice, just like that. I'm going to be putting on regular Facebook Lives, whenever I feel moved to, on a whole range of different themes around practical spirituality. So it might be incorporating things like lifestyle or purpose and meaning, service, mental health. There's such a broad range of elements that come under practical spirituality, because the time is now to become practical in our love, in our action, love in action. I send you all the love that exists to every single one of you. I can't thank you enough for joining me tonight. And I look forward to seeing you again when I next feel moved to do a Facebook Live. I'm going to put this one on YouTube. So I've got a little YouTube channel. So if you want to catch up again, rewatch, please feel free. And yeah, let's just take one step at a time and develop our own beautiful hearts. This radiant light, it really is in every single one of us. And it's a choice to start developing this. Mwah. Have a beautiful week, everyone. I look forward to connecting again soon. Now I've got to work out how to turn this off. There we go. Bye, everyone.